You're listening to This Is My Side Hustle. The tips, tools, and advice you need to optimize your life live here. If you're looking to unlock the secrets to additional income by engineering your choices around your ideal lifestyle, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and join us as we unpack unconventional ideas and methods to give you more freedom and flexibility. Let's escape the rat race together and live with intention. Let's learn how others are making it pay with their side hustles. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of This Is My Side Hustle. Today I'm going to be talking about my thrift store secrets, how to get the best bang for your buck, and also some online thrift stores I've discovered. Some you've probably heard of before, but I'm willing to bet about half of these you probably haven't. There's a little something for everyone in this episode, but I want to start out with giving you some quick life updates. I'm actually recording this the day before it comes out. I usually don't like to push things so close to the release date of the podcast. I like to record in advance as much as possible, but we've had a couple of busy weeks. My daughter broke her foot over the weekend, and we've just had a lot going on, and it somehow kind of slipped my mind that I needed to record another podcast. So anyway, I'm doing it now, just under the deadline. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the last episode 35, when I talked about the benefits from working from home, and I touched on the coronavirus a little bit. Now, that was several weeks ago when I recorded that. I've still been following it. I find it kind of funny how some people seem to be either panicked or some people think it's a joke and that it's really not going to be this big of a deal. The people who really think it's not going to be that big of a deal, though, are using a lot of the numbers from China that the Chinese government sent out. And everybody knows, well, I guess obviously everybody doesn't, but most people know that those are not the actual numbers. There's so many ways to verify for sure that those are not the numbers and that they're lying and they're downplaying it. And, you know, China is a communist country, and for people to kind of be downplaying it and trusting in a communist government and using those numbers to tell everybody there's no reason to be alarmed and we'll be just fine is kind of funny to me. I also think it's ridiculous, though, to panic. Yes, lots and lots of people get the flu each year and die from it, but there's something different about this. I still think it's worthy to keep an eye out for. Don't panic. I do think it is prudent, though, to stock up on a month or two, if not more, worth of food and supplies for your family. You know, it's just a wise decision no matter what might happen. Whether you get it or not, we're all kind of sitting ducks for some sort of a disaster. I mean, who has not lived through or known about in history something awful that can happen? Like, don't think it's not going to happen to you. So I don't think panic is the answer. I do not think fear is the answer, but I also don't think, you know, blowing it off and not paying attention and actually looking into things for yourself. Do not trust what you see on the news. Do not trust what people are posting on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever. You need to, you know, not just take the president's word for it or communist China's word for it. You need to start looking into what else is going on. You need to find alternate sources and figure that out on your own. So that being said, you know, there is a middle ground. I don't understand why, when things like this happen, why people can't figure things out, search things out, and use discernment and wisdom as to, you know, what they're going to believe and what they're not, and figure out people who are actually talking from the areas. What are they saying? Now, I did link some things in the show notes to that. I really urge you to go check out the show notes for episode 35 if you haven't already. I think it will be eye-opening to you. Obviously, we do now have cases in the U.S. As of today, March 3rd. Like I said, I'm recording this the day before it comes out. There has been somebody who died in the United States. There are people who are getting it and have not traveled or been in contact with people who traveled, so it's kind of uncertain at this point how it's happened. Could it be the virus living on services in the mail? I don't know. I really don't. But I do think it is, wise to figure out what's going on your own. Don't believe anything you hear, and don't believe everything you hear. Some things are going to be true, some things are going to be complete lies, and some things are going to be a little bit of truth and a little bit of lies. But I urge you to take a look at what's going on, because you might be forced to work from home. Several schools in Seattle have already shut down completely. What's going to happen if you go to work and your kids are at home and you can't afford to take off work because your kids can't go to school? Or vice versa, if your company shuts down and says everyone has to work from home, be prepared ahead of time to do that. So anyway, enough of that. I'm going to move on because that's not the topic, but I did want to address it since it still is kind of a thing. It's still going on. Hopefully, it kind of dies down and it's somewhat contained and it's not going to be an issue. But if it is, in the next couple of episodes, new things might happen. I might update you guys or come up with lists of things you might want to have if you have to shelter in place or self-quarantine or anything like that. But today we're not talking about that. I really had a hard time coming up with what I was going to talk about today. And I realized how much I really love thrift stores and online thrift stores and how much money I've saved over the years. I can't even begin to tell you. A lot of times, not only will I shop either in person at thrift stores or online at thrift stores, and I wear the clothes for either a season or a few seasons, and then I'm able to sell them again for about what I paid or a little less or even a little more and actually profit from it. So it's almost like if you do this prudently and you take these tips and secrets and these online thrift stores also and make note of it, and everything will be in the show notes, but it's almost like you can pretty much wear your clothes for free. So if you want to get serious about it, keep listening and I'll give you some of my best tips and hacks and resources for getting pre-owned clothing and housewares. So the first thing I want to talk about are physical stores you go to, thrift stores that are nearby, local thrift stores. Obviously, the most prominent ones are Goodwill, Salvation Army. You can find those all over the country. There are lots of usually locally owned smaller thrift stores that benefit charities. We have a lot of those in our area. St. Vincent de Paul thrift store is one. There's another one nearby called Christian Layman's. There's another one that I know of. I think it's called the Friends thrift store. I know of a few independently owned kind of boutique resale shops. There's consignment shops. I mean, a lot of these are going to apply to most of these. Some of these tips might only apply to certain chains or certain kinds of thrift stores. But I think a lot of these are going to help you not only get the best deals, but get the best items as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is always ask for discounts or figure out each different thrift store's individual discounts that they give. I know that our local Goodwills give senior citizen discounts. So they have a certain day of the week where you can go and get, I believe it's 20% off. It actually might be more than that. You also get 20% off if you're a military person or family, if you are a student, and I also think that teachers get a discount too. Now, you want to check with each of your local thrift stores and figure out if it's a day that they have it or if it's an everyday thing, what ID you might have to prove that you qualify for the discount. If they have any kind of specials where they up the discounts, such as maybe Teacher Appreciation Day or Veterans Day weekend or something. Sometimes a lot of these places will give an extra discount for several days in addition to what they normally offer. The next thing is to sign up for their email newsletters. Now, Some thrift stores might not have this, but Goodwill definitely does. Each locally owned thrift store might have a website. If they do, they probably have an email sign up option so that you can get alerted to discounts and special days when they put things on sale. You can also look on social media and see if they have a Facebook page. Most of them do have Facebook pages as well. So, follow all of the ones near you that you would be frequenting and sign up for their email lists. And that way you'll get alerted to anything they have going on. I know our local Goodwill sends out an email, at least 2 or 3 promos a month. For instance, this week, if I go and buy anything, I will get a coupon when I check out for either 15, 20, or 25% to bring back for the remaining month of March on my next purchase. So I was like, well, I think I'm going to go this week. There's been a couple things that I've needed that are kind of small, like a belt or two. So I might go and get something small and not spend a lot of time just looking for something that's pretty inexpensive, even a book or something like that, and then get my coupon and then go back and kind of scour the whole place and stock up on anything else I know I might need in the next couple of months or something. My kids are outgrowing all of their clothes very quickly, and I know they're going to need summer clothes, and I know what they like pretty well and their sizes, and same thing with me. I mean, I'm not outgrowing my clothes, but it's always nice to get a few new pieces. All right, another tip I have is when you're shopping in store, make sure you have your smartphone on you. And if you've downloaded the Poshmark app, and I've talked about Poshmark at length in the Poshmark episode, so you should go check that out. But if you have your Poshmark app on you, take a look while you're there. If you pull something up, and you can look it up on Poshmark really quickly, you can know then about what similar items or even the exact same item is listed for. So then you can kind of get a feel for whether something's a good deal or not. Most things at thrift stores are going to be cheaper than Poshmark. I mean, you can usually get much more money on Poshmark because people are specifically searching out specific items than you can in a thrift store where stuff's just donated. So, for instance, our local Goodwill, I believe jeans are $7.99 or $6.99, somewhere in that area. But you can sell jeans for, depending on the brand name, even a not so great brand name, you can sell for $15 on Poshmark. So you can get some, wear them a while if you don't put a lot of wear and tear in them or get any stains or holes or whatever, then you can sell them when you're done. If the style has changed or you gain weight or lose weight and they don't fit or anything like that anymore. So I always think that that's a great tip to have. It's especially helpful for designer and name brand items. So that's my next tip. Always, put more weight on whether you want to get something if it's designer or name brand items. Those are going to be much easier to resell than something like Walmart's George brand or Mossimo from Target. While I like some of those things, and if I really like something and I think it's worth paying for at Goodwill, I'll get those. But I always really try to, focus on things that are name brand or designer that I also like, that also fit me, and I know could fetch a good price on Poshmark or any of the other places where you can sell clothing online. And that also goes for housewares and stuff. So if you're looking in the housewares section, look for things like Pampered Chef, old Pyrex, especially the ones with lids, cast iron, those enamelware items, any kind of milk glass, anything that people collect or they put a high value on or is a well-known, maybe a little more expensive type of an item. Consider that, and then a look on Mercari or eBay or even Poshmark, because you can sell home goods on Poshmark. Just be aware of the weight limit on Poshmark. You can't really ship anything through Poshmark that's over 5 pounds, or you kind of have to take a few extra steps. So it's a little more tricky. And I also don't recommend selling really big or bulky or heavy items online. It's better to put those on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something. But that's another reason why you should have multiple selling apps on your phone so that you can easily look it up while you're right in the store and snag some of those things. I know a couple of times I've bought Pampered Chef things and then just flipped them immediately online and made a nice profit. All right, the next thing is to also check out Etsy. So if you see something that looks vintage, and whether it's cookware or a piece of artwork or, a wall hanging or candlesticks or anything like that, if it looks pretty old or pretty vintage, especially if it's, really kind of a unique, obvious decade piece, something that just screams, oh, this is the 60s. Like I know people who had this in their house in the 60s. That actually can go pretty well on Etsy because people are looking for those things that bring back memories, or they're really trying to recreate a certain feel in a room. And a lot of mid-century modern pieces are coming back. They're really in style now. So check Etsy out as well if you see any kind of vintage items, whether it's clothing or housewares, because those are things that sell very well on Etsy. Another tip I have is if they don't have a website that posts daily deals or discounts, or if they don't have a Facebook page where they update it frequently, call the thrift store ahead of time before you leave, right when they open, and just say, hey, what are your discounts for the day? I know Goodwill usually does a color, so they'll say everything with a green tag is 50% off. Or Sundays, you can get books for all books are 99 cents regardless of what the normal price is or something like that. But always call ahead of time and ask them, are you running any special deals? Or even ask them, do you have any special discounts or sales coming up soon before you make a trip? Especially if you're venturing out more than, 20 minutes from your house. If you're going to make the trip, you ought to know what to look for ahead of time or what you can expect. Or, a lot of times they'll tell you, no, we don't have anything really going on right now, but next week we're going to do this on this day. So it always pays to just call ahead. It takes a few minutes and it'll save you a lot of time and money if you do that. Next, my next tip for in-person shopping is shopping trends. So I like to do this because I typically wear pretty, I would say, classic style. I mean, a little bit trendy, but most of what I have isn't obviously a specific trend. But I think it's helpful to kind of add specific trends that you feel are flattering to you and that you like for a season by getting cheaper things at thrift stores. So for instance, you could go, if you don't really even know what the trends are, you could easily go on YouTube and just search for hottest spring 2020 trends in fashion or something like that. You will find hundreds and hundreds of videos of people listing their top trends for spring 2020, and then see which ones you like and that you want to incorporate, and then go to the thrift stores and look for those things. A lot of these things are things that have come back around, and tons of people have donated them in the past because they were out of style and now they're back in style. And that's a really good way to add a couple of key pieces to your wardrobe to keep it looking updated. Have, some accessories or shoes that are a little more trendy, but then you keep your regular wardrobe pretty basic. And I just like that idea, and having it fresh in my mind before I hit the thrift store of what specific trends I like and that I might be looking for helps me narrow it down when I get there. Rather than being there and wondering, is this in style or is this going out of style? So do a little research first and it'll save you time and, like I said, money. All right, so those are my main tips for shopping in person at thrift stores. But there are a bunch of thrift stores online or consignment stores for all different kinds of demographics, all different kinds of clothing, levels of pricing and brands. And I'm going to kind of start with the more the most inexpensive and affordable sites and move my way up to the very designer, expensive sites. And so I wanted to list a little bit of everything for everyone. You might typically mostly not care about any kind of name brands or designer brands. But every once in a while, you might want to get something, maybe a purse or maybe a scarf or a piece of jewelry that is designer for whatever reason. And you can save money on everything from, the entire gamut of pricing and brands with these online thrift stores. The first one, and probably most affordable and easy to use, is shopgoodwill.com. So Goodwill does have an online website and an online presence where you can order things from Goodwills that are all over the country and have them shipped to your house. And I love this because sometimes I'm looking for something really specific and I can't find it on Poshmark. I've already looked, or I can't find it on eBay or whatever. So I'll go to shopgoodwill.com, or I'll go to shopgoodwill.com first, especially if I know like the exact style number and the color and the name brand and the size and everything. And I'll search there first because they tend to have the best prices out of everyone because it's a Goodwill. So check them out. They have everything that your typical Goodwill would have. I've found things that are collectibles. I've found things that are extremely hard to find anywhere else online. And they have everything from clothing and accessories to housewares and albums and things like that. A lot of times I also like that shopgoodwill.com will have lots of things together. So lots meaning, several like things together as a lot for a cheaper price. For instance, I recently bought a large candle lot, and it was, I think, all said and done after the shipping, it was around $40 or something, and I got like $150 to $250 worth of candles. All name brands, all Yankee candles, all Bath and Body Works ones. They were all brand new except for maybe two had just had the wicks lit, and that's it. They were all great scents, and it would have cost me a fortune if I bought those new. And I love candles. I burn them all the time. I also got a huge Bath and Body Works set that, again, it was around $40 all said and done, and it would have cost me almost $200 if I bought it at Bath and Body Works. And they were all scents I liked, except for maybe two, which my daughters both liked, so I gave them those pieces. So shopgoodwill.com is a great spot to look for things. You can create an account for free, and then you can add things to your watch list, kind of like eBay. But you have to be careful because they don't send you any kind of notifications or emails when the auctions are about to end. So it is an auction type site. They also do have buy it now items, but you won't get those notifications. So if there's a couple of things you really have your eye on and you want to win, just make a little like Google Calendar reminder or an alarm on your phone or something for when it's going to end so that you know to get on there a couple of minutes before the auction's ending so you don't forget about it. Because I've let things that I really wanted slip through my fingers because I forgot about them because they don't send notifications, unfortunately. Hopefully that'll change in the future, but it's been like that for a while, so who knows. All right, the next one I want to talk about is called ThreadUp. Now, ThreadUp is spelled ThreadUp. There's no A in there. But ThreadUp has all kinds of stuff from as basic as Old Navy to designer brands. Most of the stuff you're going to find is pretty, low to mid designer. They don't really sell things much from Walmart, but they will sell some things from Target and things like that. But, if you're looking for something specific, it's a great place to shop. You can filter according to colors and sizes. You can set your profile to just filter out anything that's not your size in every single category, just like Poshmark. So I really like that. It makes it quick and easy to search for something. And you can also sell on ThreadUp. I have heard, though, you really don't get much money for selling on ThreadUp, so I still recommend Poshmark for that. But if you go to makingitpaytostay.com/ThreadUp, you'll get $10 off your first purchase. And that's, again, makingitpaytostay.com/threadup, THREDUP. And I've found a lot of decent things on ThreadUp, so I would definitely recommend you check them out. Obviously, I talked about Poshmark. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. So that's another place I always check. The next one is called swap.com. Now, if you go to makingitpaytostay.com/swap, you'll get 40% off your first purchase, and they have all kinds of stuff. They kind of remind me of a Mercari or eBay, but it's mostly clothing and accessories, and you can also sell on Swap. So a lot of these things I'm listing, I don't think I've mentioned before, of places where you could make money as well as save money. So check out Swap, sign up with my link, and get 40% off your first purchase, which is one of the best sign-up deals I've seen in a long time. Another one I recently came across is called Tradesy. That's TRADESY. Now, Tradesy is a little more high-end than some of the ones I've mentioned before, but it's not completely, out of the price range. But it has a lot more designer and like high designer items, which is kind of cool. Like I said, sometimes you want something, one signature piece for your wardrobe that you'll keep forever. So I don't want to, I guess, promote buying lots of designer items, especially at retail pricing, since I'm all about saving money. But hey, what you do with your money is your business. And if you like that and you've had your eye on like some Chanel earrings and you just want to have them and kind of keep them as a family heirloom and pass them down to your kids, then, why not? If you've got the money, who am I to tell you not to use it on that? So if you go to makingitpaytostay.com/tradesy, TRADESY, you'll get $20 off any purchase of $50 or more. So that's a pretty decent discount there as well. That's about a 40% off discount. So check that out. See if you can snag something in that price range. Get it just a little over $50 and get your $20 off and have something cool. The next one, and I should have said this one before I moved to Tradesy, but I put it farther down on my list. I'm not sure why. This one is really cool. I think this is one my kids would really like. It's a lot more trendy and vintage inspired type stuff and actual vintage things. It's called ASOS Marketplace. And they have things like vintage t-shirts, vintage sweatshirts. I really like it because, let me try to explain this. You can look at different trends according to categories. For instance, you can go to 90s grunge, and then they have all kinds of stuff that if you were a teen in the 90s like I was, you're going to remember being super popular. And a lot of that stuff's coming back. And some of it I even forgot that I used to own, like those leather cord necklaces with like a silver sun on it and things like that. There's a lot of cool stuff. I enjoyed going through it just to like stroll down memory lane. But there was a whole bunch of different things I know my kids would think is so cool. Like vintage Patagonia sweatshirts and vintage Pepsi tees and things like that. Remember when everyone wore the Pepsi logo in the 90s? Like what were we thinking? Anyway, a lot of that is popular again and pretty trendy. So if you've got teenagers, or if you just like a few kind of cool, nostalgic pieces or on-trend vintage pieces, definitely check out ASOS Marketplace. It's fun just to look, even if you're not specifically going to buy something. It's fun to browse and just see some of the stuff that, actually is getting a decent amount of money for that you probably donated to Goodwill, 20 years ago, or I guess more than that now. But I keep forgetting it's 2020, 25 to 30 years ago. I'm getting old. Okay. Now the next one, and actually I think this is the last one, and I have known about this one for a while, this is another one I like to just browse because I can't believe how expensive things are, but it's cool to see what designer pieces are out there and what they're going for. But that is the real. So you've probably seen commercials online or seen ads online or commercials on, like Netflix or Hulu or whatever you're watching for the real. It's a very expensive, high-end kind of consignment shop place. So you can sell, if you've got lots of designer stuff, you can sell on there and put things on consignment, but you can also buy things at a pretty good discount. So if you go to makingitpaytostay.com/realreal, I believe you'll get $50 off your first purchase of couple $100 or more, I think. But this is, again, one of those things kind of like tradesy. If you've always wanted a black Chanel handbag, one of those quilted ones with the chain strap, I mean, why buy it at the Chanel boutique? You might as well get an excellent condition used one if you really want something like that. And I think this is a good place to get things that are less expensive. For instance, scarves or accessories that you can't find elsewhere, but are still way too expensive to buy retail. And it's another site, like I said, that it's fun to look at and browse. There's a lot of stuff on there that's just so high end. I think it's ridiculous, not price wise, just the trends. But you never know if there's something you are dying to have. Check it out. So hopefully, and I wanted to mention, definitely sign up for all of these things, create an account, sign up for their email notifications, because a lot of these places also do pretty significant sales online, or they'll, run a one-day flash sale or something like that. And usually every time you sign up, you will get a discount off of your first purchase. So I definitely would recommend signing up for each of these, checking them out. Obviously, the ones I mentioned at first, keep your eye on a lot. If you're really in the mood to get something new or update your wardrobe, check them out first, or go to your local thrift store before you just go to the mall and next thing you know, you've dropped a couple $100s. My daughters recently quit gymnastics, and so they're going to be selling all of their Leos online, and I told them that they could take all of the money that they sell, or all of the money they make from the sale of their leotards, and use it for summer clothes. But I told them they first have to look for summer clothes at local thrift stores, and if they haven't found everything there, then we go online and look at some of these places before I take them to the mall. Because last year, I took them to the mall to go clothes shopping, and it was really kind of the first time that I had done that. I got a lot of their clothes on Poshmark, but I also went to the mall, and I couldn't believe how much we ended up spending, and it kind of made me sick in the stomach, but I hardly ever do that, so I didn't mind too much that time. But this time, I wanted them to see how much money can they get for selling things and listing them online, and then how frugal can they be and how savvy can they be with that money? How much can they get with the profits from their sales in order to update their summer wardrobe and get new stuff? So I'm looking forward to see how they do with that. I'm excited that they're on board with it. I think they're finally starting to realize a little more how expensive things are now that they're, having to pay more from their own money or gifts that they receive, money gifts for their birthday or Christmas, and we're giving them a little more responsibility now on things that they need to buy on their own, because we want to teach them good budgeting skills, good money skills, and how to be savvy with what they have and not just blow it on the first thing that they think about. It's kind of funny. My one daughter will just blow her money as fast as she possibly can. And my other daughter saves. If she is in the mall, she beelines for the clearance section, and she'll look at every price and kind of like wrinkle up her nose if she thinks it's too expensive. So it's just funny to see both of their approaches. And, you don't want to be extreme on one end or the other. You don't want to be so tight and frugal that you don't get to ever enjoy your money, but you also don't want to just blow it every time you get it. So it's been fun kind of seeing their journeys along the way and them discovering different ways to save money and make money. And I think it's really important that kids nowadays learn that a little more and are better equipped to deal with financial matters, because we adults, we have to think about that almost every single day. How much money do we have coming in? How much money do we have going out? What do we need to choose? What's the highest priority here? What bills need to be paid first before we spend any kind of money on ourselves, and vice versa? So I hope some of these tips and some of these introductions to some new online sources for cheap thrifted goods, or not all of them are cheap, but you know what I mean, will help you out and help you save some money if you're thinking about getting a few new pieces for spring or summer. And if you guys want to be on the show or want to leave me a tip for something you'd like me to talk about, or you just want to say, hey, go to makingitpaytostay.com/voicemail. Also, I have a new link if you would rate my podcast. If you've heard me say it in every single episode, please rate and review my podcast, but you're not sure how to do that. I've made it really simple for you. So if you go to ratethispodcast.com/thisismysidehustle, all run together, you can really quickly add a rating, add a review, hit submit, and it'll go out, and that helps me get discovered by other people. The more ratings and reviews I have, the more likely it is that the algorithms will show other people who are interested in saving money and making money and optimizing their lifestyle. It'll help other people see it that are interested in those things. So I would really appreciate it if you did that. And until next time, this is my side hustle.